So today I want to talk about how to be productive while being in a flow state. And I've talked earlier about like how we should allow things to flow naturally, create a plan but not force things, because if we're forcing things, we may need to check in with our intuition and see, is this something that we really need to do, or is it something that we're doing because of our ego? So welcome back to the Zawadi Within. It's good to see you here again. If you're new, I'm Zawadi, and I'm doing a series about embracing the season you're in. And right now, we're going to talk about how to be productive while being in a flow state. So, first of all, I would encourage you to create a plan. And by creating a plan, we're being intentional. So, we have an idea of what needs to be done, what we want to do, but we're not forcing it. By that, it's we set ourselves up for success, but if we meet continual resistance, we take a step back and reevaluate and see, okay, what needs to be tweaked, and also just reevaluate our motives, because sometimes things may not work out because they're not meant to work out, or we're forcing them at the wrong time, because I believe timing is so important. So just because something doesn't happen at a certain time doesn't mean it's never meant to happen, but we may need to take a step back and focus on something else, or we may need to take our hands off the wheel so that we don't go and get a big ego and feel like this happened because I pushed it, but we realize that this was meant to be, this is mine, and everything that's meant for me will happen at the right time. Another thing that we can do is to try and find ways to make the process fun or more enjoyable. And if it's something that like it's tedious and you can't find a fun way to do it, try and focus on the end result. So while you're grinding, you're kind of focusing, okay, I'm doing this that I don't necessarily like, but knowing that while I'm doing this, I'm going to get to a result that I really want, and focus on that and imagine how great the result will be. And subconsciously, it's kind of like you're tricking your mind, so it doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like something that's enjoyable or something that's fulfilling. And that's something I do when I'm doing my different projects, is I focus on the result, or try and find ways to make it more enjoyable, like having good music, or yeah, joking around with my kids while I do things, or letting them help me, which sometimes is less helpful, but it's a way for us to kind of like bond and connect while I'm doing what I need to do, and then it makes them feel important. So when they're a part of it, it becomes like something that enables me to reach my core values, because my value is to, one, be productive and keep the promises that I make to myself, but to connect with the people that are most important to me, which are my family. So yeah, that's a good tip if you're interested in that. And thirdly, I'd like to encourage you to just trust the process. Nothing in life is smooth sailing. It's always filled with, ups and downs and twists and curves, but we don't have to perceive those little detours as bad things. We can perceive them as just like a journey, as something interesting for the different things that we have to learn as we're going through this journey called life. And if we see these bumps and twists as opportunities, they won't negatively affect us. But we focus on like, oh, this isn't working according to my plan, then we're going to get frustrated and stressed, because we're getting all caught up in our personal ego, instead of realizing that everything that's meant to be will be. Everything that's meant for you will be there for you, regardless of what happens. And that just brings so much peace and so much just like joy in knowing that whatever's meant for you cannot be taken away. And I think you'd have to trust in a higher power, because like for me, I know everything that happens in my life is according to God's plan. I don't believe in any real mistakes. I don't believe in any real hindrances, because I know that everything that's happened into my life has made me the person that I am. Everything that will happen in my life is getting me closer and closer to who I need to be. And I think if we all have more of that mindset, we won't be so stressed out, because we know that only good will come from everything that happens in our life. The individual situation may be bad, but at the end of the day, it is for our highest good. And I want to live my life in a way that I can be proud of who I became along the journey. Sometimes people get caught up in, I guess, maybe the results or the success or the things that they've become, but they forget who they learn to be along the way is honestly so much more important than who they are at the end. So I'm really excited for this journey called life. And sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's rough. Sometimes it's hard because plans change. But learning to remind myself to trust God ultimately and knowing that everything that happens is for my highest good brings me so much peace. And I hope it brings you peace as well. Be blessed and have a wonderful day. Bye.